Now I'd like to go back to Martin and have Martin talk to us about how to build a car. Martin, welcome again. You're just all over the show this evening.
Yeah, it's scary, isn't it?
No, it's welcome. I appreciate it. You got a lot
Okay,
of talent.
so share screen, different set of slides. And this is part 3 of this old kit, where I was building the Traincraft number 503 kit, which was that side door caboose. Not sure how I managed to remember it was the 503. Okay, well, in any case, stuff creeps into your brain and never leaves. It's terrible. So pick up where we left off. We'll do the roof, install the fiddly bits, paint, and finish it all in, I don't know, 20 slides. Probably flying by in a slow moving movie at this point. So where we were on the roof, we had a cupola. It fits on there, nice and neat. Not any problem. Got some holes for some stack and a vent, more holes for windows and doors. Just a matter of putting all the parts where they belong. It's simple, right? Okay, well, I added, I changed, instead of the cardboard that came with it, I used 1/32 scribe siding. Those are Berkshire Valley roof walk supports. You could use Grant line or just cut some 3x3s or 3x4 pieces of wood to fit. It doesn't really matter that much. They're going to be under the roof walk. Nobody will see them anyhow. The only person that has to worry about them is you. You fit them up nice. You fit the scribe siding up right next to this groove. So you want a nice tight fit where the cupola goes back in. And of course, yeah, do check that the cupola does go back in. Forcing it in later is going to make a mess. So that's just glued down with some carpenter's glue and some weights. Cupola still fits. Hooray. We didn't mess that up too badly yet. Okay. Side details. We got the door castings. Just test fit them. Test fitting them because you got to know where to put the ladders. There's a ladder that goes next to it. There's a step that goes under it. All these other pieces go in various locations. You need to map that out in advance. I've already put the toolbox in, but you know where things are going to go in advance. It solves your problems later. You can see immediately one interesting problem, that these ladders are a lot longer than they need to be. So you're going to have to get your Dremel and cutoff wheel out, shorten the ladder just a little bit. Particularly so you want to have your stirrup step under the ladder or close to being underneath the ladder. So we put some details on. We have our ladders are in there. I actually glue them in place and then I drill and pin them in place because I'm not going to trust the glue. Things break off. So the stirrup steps went on first and the ladder went on top of it, offset a little bit, drill a hole, drop the wire, grabs in. Easy enough to do. Put the roof walks on. So remember the cardboard template showed you where all these roof walks went and the under part, the support boards are underneath them. So that's pretty easy. You just follow the pictures. Everything lines up neatly. Okay, on to the ends. Okay, so I've added a few things. We've cut and fit ladders. This is the brake platform that came with the kit, but I've added a precision scale brake wheel, ratchet and pawl casting, and a stirrup for the brake shaft to fit into, air hoses on a brass angle that has been drilled out and soldered together. These are actually grab irons from Tishi because it seemed like I didn't have enough grab irons to do down here on the end sill. The polling pockets are from Wiseman's Model Services. You just have to cut them off the sprue, grind them flat on the back, put them on with a little bit of goo and CA, and they're not going anywhere. So we have our brass turning here, and for the bathroom vent, we have a casting for the smoke jack. That gets turned 90 degrees, run through the drill press to clear that, because that's a solid piece of lead. These get thrown away. roof grabs, corner grabs for the roof walk supports, and 2 more brake platforms. So the instructions tell you that those 2 extra brake platforms are to be flipped over, straightened out, and hung upside down to be the steps under the doors. I thought, oh, that's an interesting idea. I mean, they have a hole in them, but after you flip it over, straighten it out, slide it into the car, glue it in place, you're really going to notice the hole after you put some black paint on it. I thought, well, we'll do that. We'll see how that works. So we drill some holes, drop these in, these 2 castings in, put the corner grabs in. I seem to have been either short of one or one flew off into space while I was doing the work, but it's no big deal. It's 25 thousandths phosphor bronze wire from T-sheet. Just copy the other 4, make one copy, put it in place, and pretend it. After you put a coat of paint on it, you don't care what the wire was made out of anyhow. Okay, added grabs to the side of each door. You have to know which door is which because there's a ladder on the opposite side of that grab. So this goes on one side of the car, this goes on the other side of the car. Touch up the paint, got to do some glazing. Okay, fast forward. We're going to zip forward real fast. Okay, so scale coat caboose red. I just happen to have a can of that, spray can of that. I'm not quite sure where or how. The roof was roof brown, cupola glued in place, final parts installed, underbody sprayed flat black. So we take it all outside in the driveway, upside down on top of the trash can, on top of a piece of plywood, spray everything, let it cook in the sun. We're done. All the metal castings for the doors and windows, you glaze and install those. All of the window openings were too small, significantly too small. So you have to be kind of careful on this. You want to widen them and raise them, not lower them. Or you want to widen it and lower them all. But I think that's dangerous. You want a straight line, so you have to keep 2 of your dimensions, 2 of your surfaces on the window openings constant and work always in the other 2 directions on all 3 on each side. So that way you get a consistent straight line. Okay, so we made the step. It doesn't look too bad. I can see the hole, but I can live with that. It's a drainage hole in case ice forms or something. You make up a good story. It'll work. And you go back and touch everything else up with some steam black. And at the time, I put a pair of arch bars underneath it. And I decided I didn't like those, actually, because didn't have the leaf springs. And I thought, I've got to have something better somewhere. I went and looked for them. So here's the end. You can see coat of paint on the end, little touch-up paint for black here and there on the wheels and stuff, and on the grab irons. A little more touch-up paint work, and no lettering or weathering as yet. Underbody, coat of paint on it. It's black paint. Not too exciting. Roof looks pretty much done. Turned out this is actually, I really like building this kit a lot more than I ever thought it would be. It turned out to be a much more interesting caboose than I expected. And I'm going to start looking for another one just because I enjoyed building it so much. And then I went back about a week later and said, where are those other trucks that I have in the file cabinet drawer of trucks, or passenger car trucks? And I just happen to have a pair of old Walther's Sierra car trucks, and they actually work, actually fit in there. The wheelbase is fairly short, but I think they look a lot better on this car instead of just the plain old arch bars. So that's going to be the end point for this one until I come back someday and do some weathering or lettering. I'm not sure which, or both. But it came out about as good as you can for a kit from the early 50s. So I don't know what's next on the kit list. I've got a Stuart Lundell kit laying around. The basic Huff and Puff, they're all over the place. I've got a couple of Lobau kits laying around. I got an All Nation traction box trailer kit that's, I think, has a mismatched floor and roof. but that'll make it interesting and entertaining to reconcile the two. I've got a Henry T kit. Anybody ever hear of Henry T? That's a resin.
Yeah.
That's a resin kit. All the parts are cast flat, which means you take all the parts upstairs and put them in a perfectly flat glass bottom dish and pour hot water on them and put weights on top of all of them and hope that they flatten out and stay that way. It's an adventure, but that does work actually. And I've got an Alexander scale models kit. Actually, I've got 3 of them for hopper cars, and they are terrifying, absolutely terrifying. A lot of epoxy going on in that. I can see happening in that adventure, but a lot of grinding with a Dremel as well. So I'm not too sure I care which one I do. I like the Lundell kit because it's a Pennsylvania Railroad dairy reefer, and I think those are always nice and colorful. So my first choice is at the top. And there's where I am, and I'm not too hard to find, which is also pretty terrifying. And we'll stop there.
I'm going to look forward to that Lindell model. I think that's a great one to do.
Yeah, there's several Lundell kits. There's a regular Pennsylvania Railroad box car and a matching dairy reefer. And those are kind of interesting, but I think they're an XM class car or thereabouts. So we're looking at 1890s, 1900s, somewhere in there. Those are 36-foot cars, but fun. A little challenging with the metal casting parts warping usually.
Well, we look forward to it, Martin. Thank you so much for doing this tonight.
Glad to do it, Jim.
Martin,
Yes, sir. Someone.
a Dolce Vita 51 on YouTube was asking what scale is this?
Oh, it's O scale.
Thank you.
And Martin, I did have a real quick question
Sure.
on the polling pockets. You said that you ground the backs of them, but then you attached them with Pile of Blonde and CA.
Yeah.
Which comes first and how
Uh,
does?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the sprue that they come on from Wiseman is huge. So you nip that off and you got to grind it flat. Or, well, I guess you could drill a big hole in it if you really wanted to. But I grind them flat on. I hold them with a hemostat and grind them flat with a 4-inch upright belt sander, very cautiously, because if you don't do it cautiously, something goes flying into space, never to be found again. Gluing them, a little bit of goo on the metal part, and then I tap that onto the wood, pull it back off, a little CA back onto the metal part, put it back together. It's not going anywhere.
Okay, so it's the goo and then the CA.
Right. Yeah, that'll lock it into place, and it's a great way to get metal casting parts to stick to wood very effectively, particularly if you're working with end grain, because nothing sticks to end grain otherwise.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, glad to help.
Hey, Martin, one quick question for your quick tip. Does the plastic connections, do they lock up like the metal ones if it winds up being too long?
I've never had one lock up because the paint doesn't really stick to them. And also because with the metal caps, they had a flat surface. So the paint got up in there. This has a ridge, which actually compresses down into the glass and actually seals far better. So you don't get paint up in there where it kind of siphons in and wicks into the cracks and really creates a cement a bond in between the cap and the metal liners, which were just foil and cardboard. The polypropylene just doesn't stick. It's hard to get. Not much sticks to polypropylene very effectively. And it makes a good seal, and you know it's going to make a good seal because that compression ridge keeps carbonated beverage sealed.
Yep, thank you.
Yep.
Well, Martin, thanks again. You've done two for us tonight, and the second tip, I think, about the glue. I think that was fantastic also. So thank you so very much.
Yep, glad to do it.